She left. Maybe it was slow, maybe it was sudden. A door closed, a message unanswered. The silence hits louder than her voice ever did. And now you sit there, heart cracked, ego bleeding, soul stripped naked, asking the one question that every man eventually whispers into the void. Why did she leave? The truth. She didn't leave you. She left the man you became when you gave her everything, including your spine. Look around you. No one is coming to save you. No gentle hands to soothe you. No tear-stained letters asking for forgiveness. Because heartbreak for men is a funeral no one attends. You grieve alone. You fall alone. And if you're strong enough, if you're ruthless enough, you rise alone. This is not a love story. This is an autopsy. You gave her your heart, hoping she'd protect it. She didn't. But that's not betrayal, that's biology. She didn't want your worship. She wanted your strength. Machiavelli once wrote, "A wise man does at once what a fool does finally." You were the fool. You waited too long to see what was in front of you. You mistook kindness for connection, loyalty for love. And now you're bleeding because you believed in the fantasy, not the woman. She left not because she's evil, but because your dependence became repulsive. You handed her the crown and called it romance. But kings don't beg. Kings don't collapse at the feet of their queens. Let me rip off the last illusion you're still holding on to. She was never yours. You thought she was. You thought the dinners, the confessions, the long nights meant something permanent. But in the brutal mathematics of reality, attraction is not love. And love is not loyalty, especially not for a man who lost himself trying to keep her. Carl Jung said, "The greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents. And the greatest tragedy of the modern man is the unlived life he traded for validation." The wound in your chest, it's not from her absence. It's from the part of you that died trying to become whatever you thought she wanted. That hollow ache is grief not for her, but for the man you betrayed within yourself. That man, the wild, focused, hungry one, he's buried beneath compromised smiles and fake sensitivity. You didn't lose her. You lost yourself. She just walked away from the ruin. This is where most men fail. They chase, they plead. They write long messages that will never be read. They offer more softness, more affection, more of the same weakness that drove her away. They believe that love means proving themselves to someone who already left. But love isn't sacrifice. It's direction. And now that she's gone, you finally have a direction again. You think you're broken? Good. Only broken men can be reforged. Every empire is born from ashes. But the ashes must first admit they're dead. You are not here to get her back. You are here to get yourself back. So I'll ask you one more time, why did she leave? She left because the man you became was no longer a challenge, no longer a mystery, no longer dangerous. You were no longer the mountain she admired. You became the carpet she walked over. And the cruel reality, women do not mourn the men they leave. They mourn the versions of themselves that existed with you. Once they outgrow that version, so do you. This is rule 1. A man must never die at the hands of another person's emotions, not hers, not anyone's. Because the moment you let her feelings define your value, you stop being a man and become a mirror desperate for her reflection to validate your shape. But this is not the end. This is the beginning. Pain is not your prison. It is your passage. Through it, you are reborn or destroyed, and only you get to choose. So if you're ready, we continue. Not into love, not into revenge, but into something far more powerful. Control. You thought being a good man would be enough. You thought showing up, listening, caring, texting her good morning, buying flowers, being soft, open, vulnerable, all of that would keep her around. She smiled. She said she appreciated it. Then she left anyway. Why? Because she wasn't reacting to what you were doing. She was reacting to what you were becoming. You became predictable, tame, domesticated. You traded your edge for approval. You gave her emotional intimacy while abandoning your own emotional sovereignty. You loved her like she was oxygen and forgot that you already knew how to breathe before she arrived. Carl Jung warned of the more compulsive the need to be loved, the more hollow the self becomes. The moment you placed your identity in her hands, she instinctively felt it. This man is no longer leading, because when a man places a woman above his purpose, she eventually looks down on him. You became the provider of comfort, not of direction. The source of warmth, not of intensity. And here's the twisted truth most men refuse to admit. She didn't change. You did. When she first met you, you were a mountain. Strong, distant, focused. You had your own path, your own code, your own momentum. But over time, you carved a staircase into yourself and let her climb. Not because she demanded it, but because you wanted to prove you were worthy. That's when she stopped desiring you. Because you didn't become more loving. You became more available. And availability in excess rots into emotional neediness. Let's name it plainly, you gave up your polarity. You killed the masculine edge that pulled her in. Masculinity is not loud. It is not angry. It is solid, unapologetic, self-defined. You, on the other hand, began orbiting her emotions like a lost moon. Your moods shifted with hers. Your happiness depended on her messages. Your energy faded when she grew distant. And she felt it, that invisible collapse of the man she once admired. Truth number 2. A woman doesn't leave you because you weren't good enough. She leaves you because you stopped being necessary. Necessary doesn't mean being her therapist. It means being the immovable force she can't manipulate, the man she has to grow to meet, not the man who shrinks to match her lowest mood. You thought being emotionally transparent made you strong. But strength isn't in sharing every fear. It's in carrying those fears while staying grounded. You thought being available made you trustworthy. But trust is built on boundaries, not unlimited access. This is where men break. They confuse comfort for connection. They confuse tolerance for virtue. They become emotional servants, hoping their devotion will buy loyalty. It won't, not with her, not with anyone. Because true respect and true desire comes from tension, not appeasement. Let's go deeper. You began apologizing for being yourself. You filtered your thoughts to not upset her. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You downplayed your goals, your standards, your time, all in the name of love. But love without self-respect is not love. It's codependency in costume. You weren't loving her. You were sacrificing yourself to avoid being abandoned. And the paradox, that's exactly why she left. Machiavelli once said, "Men in general judge more by the sense of sight than by the sense of touch, because everyone can see but few can feel." She saw you. She saw the man you pretended to be. She saw the subtle desperation behind the gifts, the texts, the constant need to be enough. And even if she didn't say it, she felt it. The fire was gone. You extinguished it with too much validation. You smothered the attraction with emotional dependence. And that not some other man, not a mistake you made, that is what collapsed the masculine illusion she fell for in the first place. Let me make it brutal and simple. If she can control your emotions, she cannot respect you. And if she cannot respect you, she cannot love you. It doesn't matter what she says. It doesn't matter how long you were together. The moment your strength became conditional, the foundation cracked. Rule 2. A man who gives away emotional leadership will always lose the woman, even if she stays. Because once the dynamic shifts, once you're the one chasing, pleading, proving she may physically remain in your life, but psychologically, she's already gone. And eventually, her body will follow her mind. Because women do not walk away in moments. They walk away in layers. And each time you bend, justify, or soften for approval, another layer peels off. So now here you are, stripped, humiliated, alone. But don't waste this, because this collapse isn't your ending. It's the demolition before your reconstruction. The man you were was too weak to survive, and thank God he's dead. Because only now can you rebuild something no woman can shake your core. Freedom is not romantic. It doesn't come with flowers nor fireworks. Freedom comes like a blade, cold, sudden and merciless. The day she walked out, you didn't just lose her. You lost your excuse. Now the house is quiet. No footsteps, no messages, no someone to impress, no one to mirror back who you are. And that's the terror, isn't it? You don't know who you are without her reflection. Because for months, maybe years, you didn't exist. She did. And you were the shadow that served her light. But now she's gone. And for the first time in years, you're alone with you. That's where real pain begins. It's not the breakup. It's the silence that follows. A silence that exposes just how hollow you had become. A silence that confronts you with a single truth. You were never the man you thought you were. She didn't destroy you. She revealed you. And here's where most men break or awaken. Because what you're experiencing right now isn't grief. It's withdrawal. You were addicted to her attention, her voice, her body, her presence. And just like a drug, the high of her affection numbed your deeper emptiness. But now you're sober. Now every insecurity you buried beneath the relationship is clawing its way to the surface. Now you're being forced to look in the mirror without her arms to hide behind. This is the brutality of freedom. There's no one left to blame. No more illusions. No more performance. No more if only she stayed. She didn't. She won't. And maybe that's the best gift she's ever given you. You see, a man is not built in comfort. He is built in the wreckage. He is built when the ground crumbles and no hand reaches out. He is built in the decision, stand up or rot. Soren Kierkegaard once wrote, "Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom." And that dizziness you feel right now, that sickening vertigo-like emptiness, that's the moment you realize you are no longer someone's boy. You are your own man, or you are nothing. No woman can carry that for you. No love can fill it. No reassurance can replace it. This is your job now. To rebuild, to sharpen, to become so brutally aligned with who you are that no loss can fracture you again. But make no mistake, this won't feel good. Because true transformation is not a glow-up. It's not a gym montage. It's not aesthetics. It's demolition. You will cry, you will rage, you will break, and you will rebuild. You wake up at 5 a.m. You train when no one is watching. You sit with your pain without numbing it with validation. You stop explaining your decisions. You burn your old self without mourning him. You enter rooms without seeking approval. This is not for revenge. This is not for her to see. This is not for anyone to applaud. This is your war of one. Truth number 3. A man becomes dangerous the moment he learns to suffer without seeking rescue. When you can stand in the fire of loneliness, silence, and emotional ruin and not flinch, you have become sovereign. And a sovereign man does not chase. He chooses. He discerns. He builds his kingdom without asking if anyone wants to live in it. Now you begin to reforge, but not as the man who just heals. You're not here to be soft. You're not here to recover so you can love again. You're here to become so deeply rooted in yourself that no love can possess you and no loss can break you. This isn't about closing your heart. It's about commanding it. It's about directing your energy, your vision, your body, your presence towards something unshakable. Purpose, discipline, principle, silence, solitude, self-respect. All the things you lost when you gave them away for warmth. And when you feel like folding again, when memories scream, when nostalgia begs you, remember the man who begged is dead. The man who waited is dead. The boy who cried for her is dead. Only the man remains. And the man does not kneel. Not to memories, not to loneliness, not to her. Rule 3. A man does not belong to anyone. He belongs to his mission. Because the man who belongs to his mission will never be left behind again. He is always moving, always forward, always deeper into who he truly is. Women may come and go, but your sovereignty that stays, that grows, that leads. And from that place, love may return, but not as your salvation. Only as a guest, never a god. So ask yourself now, will you crawl back to comfort? Or will you march alone through the fire and earn your rebirth? Because she may have left. But now it's your turn to leave behind the man who needed her and become the man who no longer needs anyone. By now you understand love did not fail you. Your relationship with power did. You gave her love. But you gave her love without boundaries. You gave her your time, attention, loyalty, but without structure, without mission, without demand. And she didn't leave because you were unloving. She left because there was no center to orbit anymore. Machiavelli said it coldly and truthfully. It is much safer to be feared than loved if one must choose. Fear in this case doesn't mean terror. It means gravity, presence, respect that cannot be faked. A man with a frame so solid that no smile, no sob story, no curve of the hip can displace it. You didn't lose her because you lacked love. You lost her because you lost power, and once power fades, so does desire. Women are not built to lead the emotional charge in a relationship. They are not designed to carry the structure, they fill it. They reflect what you initiate. They respond to what you establish. If you do not lead with conviction, the relationship devolves into chaos. She becomes emotional. You become passive. She tests. You apologize. She pushes. You fold. And when enough order collapses, she leaves. You thought affection would win her. You thought softness would keep her. But affection, when untethered from strength, becomes noise. She didn't want a servant. She wanted a force. Truth number 4. Women do not follow men because they're nice. They follow men because they are ordered. A woman's love is not unconditional, nor should it be. It is constantly evaluating. Is this man stable? Is he vision-driven? Is he unshakable? Not just financially, but emotionally, morally, spiritually. You broke that test when you started adapting to her feelings instead of directing the course. When you waited for her approval before acting. When you let affection outrank order. Let's make this brutal and clear. Love is the reward. Power is the prerequisite. You never negotiate love from weakness. You don't earn her by being more agreeable. You command love by building a reality she wants to live, inside, not control. This is why your healing cannot stop at detachment. It must evolve into dominion. You must become the architect of your life. Everything ordered, everything sharpened, everything intentional. Your finances, your body, your beliefs, your time, your energy, your home, your tone, your boundaries. Because when your world is in order, you do not need love. Love needs you. Machiavelli also wrote, men ought either to be well treated or crushed, because they can avenge themselves of lighter injuries, of more serious ones they cannot. Stop tolerating small emotional betrayals. Stop rationalizing disrespect. Stop forgiving tests that insult your masculine frame. If you allow a woman to chip away at your order, not because she's cruel, but because she will test you into oblivion and not even know why she stopped loving you. Women don't mourn the man you were. They mourn the order you lost. You see, the more she loves you, the more she needs to know you're unbreakable. Because if she ever becomes unsteady, hormonal, insecure, doubtful, she needs to lean on your structure, not your emotions. She wants your love, yes, but only when it flows from authority, not approval-seeking. Rule 4. A man leads with order. If he leads with love, he becomes replaceable, because love can be found in many places. But command presence. That is rare, and once felt, never forgotten. You weren't replaced because you weren't lovable. You were replaced because you lost your frame. And frame is not about stoicism. Frame is about direction. When she looked at you and saw a man wandering, bending, emoting without aim, she knew this is not a man I can trust with my chaos. So here's your shift. You stop chasing warmth. You start establishing gravity, not by controlling others, but by mastering yourself. You rise before the sun. You know what you want. You say no quickly and yes slowly. You protect your time like a king guards his crown. You express love from a position of wholeness, never desperation. And most importantly, you build a world that continues with or without her. That is what pulls a woman in. That is what keeps her drawn. And if she leaves anyway, you still stand untouched. Machiavelli wasn't cold, he was clear. Affection is fleeting. Power is foundational. Your job now is not to find someone to fill the void she left. Your job is to become the kind of man whose life has no void, only space for the worthy. She may have left because your world revolved around her. Let your rebirth ensure no woman ever becomes your axis again. This is the end of the illusion, not just of love, but of who you thought you were. And now it's time for the last choice. The one that separates men who rise from men who vanish. Will you walk alone or die in illusion? Illusion is warm. It's her laughter in your memory. It's the image of her lying next to you on those quiet nights. It's the voice that whispers, maybe she'll come back. And if not her, then someone else. Someone new. Someone who will finally stay. Finally love you the way you deserve. That's the illusion. That's the lie. Because if you're still seeking completion in the body, eyes, or arms of a woman, you haven't learned anything. The world does not revolve around love. The world revolves around truth. And the truth is this: no one is coming. Not her, not your ex, not a better version, not your soulmate. No woman will fix the hole inside you that you refuse to face. Because the hole was never about her. It was about the man you abandoned to win her. You want to heal? Then stop looking for relief and start building reality. The reality where your feet are planted, your breath is steady, your hands build, your mind commands, your heart listens to you, not them. That reality begins when you choose the hard path, the one where you walk alone. Kierkegaard once wrote, "The crowd is untruth. The crowd says, find another woman. Put yourself out there. Don't be bitter. Try again." But what if the crowd is wrong? What if this isn't your time to move on? What if this is your time to stand still and face yourself? Not your loneliness, not your lust, not your longing, your core. That solid, eternal part of you that no woman, no heartbreak, no rejection can touch. Rule 5. The final rule. A man who cannot walk alone is a man who will never stand for anything, because he will always bend toward affection. He will always twist for approval. He will always live and die by the eyes of others, especially hers. The world does not belong to these men. It uses them. It discards them. And when they are alone again, they collapse because they never truly learn to stand. You need to understand that there is no strength in being wanted. There is strength in being undeniable, even if no one ever says your name again. There is no victory in being loved. There is victory in being unchangeable, no matter who stays, no matter who leaves. Let me say this clearly. If she comes back and you are not changed, you will lose her again. If another woman comes and you are still unanchored, she will leave too. If love returns and finds you still a boy, it will destroy you again. The only way forward is through solitude, not loneliness. Solitude, the chosen silence, the purposeful isolation, the warpath that leads to inner command. And in that solitude, you do not mope, you build. You build your income, your discipline, your craft, your fitness, your inner circle, your clarity, your voice, your spine. You do not become attractive, you become untouchable. And when she sees you again, maybe online, maybe by accident, maybe never, she will feel it in her gut. That man is not mine anymore. He belongs to no one, not even me. And she'll be right. Because the man you become now, he doesn't belong to her. He doesn't belong to love. He doesn't belong to women, applause, or desire. He belongs to the truth. He belongs to himself. And that is the most dangerous man of all. So let this heartbreak be your funeral. Let the man who begged, cried, apologized, and pleaded burn. Say goodbye to him, and in his place rise, not to chase, not to prove, not to hope, but to lead, to own, to command, to walk forward without asking if anyone will walk with you, because now you know, the man who can walk alone is the man no one can leave.